Rubin Seeds virtually. We'd also like to thank all the students and teachers who have been attending. We hope this has been an enjoyable learning experience. And some of you might know, February is CTE month. So this month we celebrate and bring awareness to career technical education. So we hope that you will follow us on social media and just keep a lookout for any upcoming events that we have. And also don't forget to congratulate your CTE teachers for the amazing job they've been doing, especially now during distance learning. So big shout out to teachers. I give it back to Stacy.
Thank you, Adriana. We definitely love all of our CTE advisors that are online with us. Today, we have the opportunity to visit with Kurt Rubin of Rubin Seed up in Brawley. So he is going to be giving us a tour of his facility. Feel free, questions can be asked in the chat while the tour is going on. Whatever questions you have, feel free to either can direct message them to me or make it so it's viewable to everyone. We will also have an opportunity at the end of the tour where you can unmute yourself and ask your question directly to Mr. Rubin. So please feel free to ask away in the chat. But for now, I want to welcome Mr. Kurt Rubin to our virtual setting, and we will let you take it away.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Kurt Rubin, and I'm the manager here at Rubin Seeds in Brawley, California. A little bit about myself. I was born and raised in Brawley, graduated from Brawley Union High School, and then went up to San Luis Obispo and graduated from Cal Poly in 2003 with an ag business major and a minor in viticulture. After college, kind of traveled a little bit, then decided wasn't ready to move back to the Imperial Valley just yet. Got a job selling insurance to public entities, mainly school districts and hospitals, and living out of Newport Beach. And so I was able to travel quite a bit and enjoy the beach weather. And then in 2006, there was an opportunity to move back home and start Rubin Seeds with our partners El Toro Export. And so we've been in business since 2006, and we'll take a tour around. But Rubin Seeds is I guess a full service cleaning operation, custom cleaning, any types of seed from your field crops, alfalfa, Bermuda, wheat, Sudan, and we can get into some specialty crops. Vegetable seeds, broccoli, onion, cilantro, canola, mazunas. So you name it, we're small enough where we're capable and interested in handling just about anything any of our clients have to throw at us. Another part of our business is seed production, and we do seed contract production on alfalfa seed and Bermuda grass seed and canola. Where we have customers from up the northern part of the United States that need something produced, which would be our winter. We would plant in the fall, harvest in the spring, clean it, and send it up to them to plant in their springtime. So in the Imperial Valley's got a unique climate, and with our water resources have the opportunity to do special projects like that. So as I said, we're a full custom seed cleaning house. So one process that we do here is clean seed, and we're also a grain handling facility, which we handle durum wheat, which is what is milled and made out of pasta. So we've got a unique climate here in the Imperial Valley and over in Arizona, where we've got a product that we grow is called desert durum, and it's a high quality, low moisture durum wheat that makes very fine quality pasta. And a lot of the wheat that you see in the stores from Berea ends up on the shelf, comes out of the Imperial Valley. So with that, I will turn the video camera around and kind of walk you through the facility and kind of walk you through the process of the grain handling and the the seed handling. Some of them are similar up into the way they get harvested and delivered into the facility. And then once we get them unloaded, then that's kind of where the difference comes in handling. So we'll turn it around and take a little walk. We're going to start right here at the scale. So everything that's harvested comes in by truck, belly dump trailers, and comes across the scale. And the scale, truck drivers get off, come into the office with their paperwork and tell them what they're hauling in and who's it for. So it gets weighed and gets issued a lot number. On the seed side, if it's grain coming in, it's sampled and graded for protein, and depending on what the protein is, high or low, we will separate the grain by quality. So high protein in one storage area and low protein in a second storage area. But in front of us, we've got big silo tanks. The ones we're looking at, they'll hold about 400 tons of grain, and wheat is stored there until we are ready to move it into a rail car. This facility was built in the 1940s and was built as mainly a grain handling facility. So we'll take a look at a few different things that allows this to be quite unique, that we can unload a truck from one side of the yard and have the grain or seed transferred all the way to the other side of the yard without having to touch it with employees. We use a series of elevators and belts to do that. So we stop right here. In front of us here, we have a combine. This is what is used to harvest the seed out of the fields. So depending on what you're growing, if it's wheat, Bermuda grass, alfalfa seed, Sudan seed, everything is cut out in the field, let to dry, and then this machine comes through and picks it up off the ground, and it puts it through the throat of the machine right here. And then inside of there, there's a bar, a thrasher bar that spins around and knocks the seed off, and then everything travels through the machine to the back to a set of screens that sifts the seed, and the trash or the straw comes out of the back of the machine, and the seed gets elevated up into the tank. So can't really see, but there's a screen that comes up, and then all of the good seed goes into that tank and then is unloaded into the belly dump trailers with that auger. It extends and it augers the seed into the belly dump trailer. On our walk back here, we'll look at a belly dump trailer and see how the grain and seeds unloaded. So on the grain side of things, everything we handle as grain is shipped out in rail cars. Each rail car weighs about 110 tons, and those rail cars are sold on specs based on protein and test weight and color. And so with our ability to grade beforehand, we can separate and then put back together to meet a contract spec. So here we've got a truck with a set of belly dump trailers on it. So this is what the normal truck looks like that comes into the yard. So once this truck would come onto the scale, get weighed, and then it would get sent to a pit, which is right here. So the truck drives over the pit and opens up the belly dump trailers here. The door's on the bottom, and the grain flows out underneath into the pit. And like I said, this is a unique facility because from here we can transfer it all over the yard depending on the quality, just by the turn of a wheel or the flip of a switch on an elevator. So there's an elevator tower that's got 3 elevators in it, that has a lot of different combinations of which way we can go. Here's some more storage tanks here. And there's some storage tanks back there. And then here's a big flat house storage area out, that we can store grain in. But then we'll take you down underneath, because that pit unloads underneath into this tunnel. And so we can unload from the pit. And we also, if you look back in there, you can see some other chutes. Those are the tanks of the other that we were looking at, the big gray tanks above. Those also unload onto the belt, which just allows us, you know, a lot of opportunity with limited manpower to move grain around. But the grain would come out of the tanks or the pit, travel on the belt down to those series of elevators, and then we can adjust those elevators as to where we want the grain to end up at its final destination. So we'll walk back here and take a look at the elevator loading area for the rail cars. So we're on the UP system, so we need to work with the Union Pacific Railroad to get cars and have them spotted. And we don't have any rail cars on hand today, but we'll take a look at the spur. And so here's the railroad. There's the main track just on the other side of the fence there, right there. And then this is our spur that comes in, and from our loading point here down, we can load 10 cars if our neighbors aren't loading any cars, and we can load about 20 cars we can load about 20 cars, sorry, if they're not loading any cars, but if they've got cars down in there, we're only limited to about 10. So this is the loading out elevator. That arm swings out over the rail car, put in position by an employee, and then we transfer grain from anywhere in the yard through the elevators into this tank, and then down and out. So that's kind of a quick look at the grain handling side of things. And we'll walk into the cleaning building here and take a look at a couple different processes or a couple different commodities that are being cleaned. The first one, which is Sudan Seed. And Sudan Seed is a forage grass that's shipped mainly into the Far East, into Japan, China, Taiwan, Korea, and is used as a roughage for their dairy cattle. So they're not looking for a lot of protein, they're just looking for roughage to help with the diet of the cows. We'll stand out here in front and kind of take a look at how things work. So we've got 4 main cleaning lines in this building. 2 of them are larger lines like the one we're looking at. And then right here, we have our smaller laboratory line. It allows us to, this is the machinery that we use on any kind of stock seed production that we're doing, anything that we need to make sure that we preserve the purity and the identity of that variety. We clean on this little machine because it doesn't have any elevators and doesn't have a whole lot of places to get stuck. But you can look inside the shoe. There's no screens in this one right now. But basically the seed would go on the top, get separated between screens here, and then the good seed comes out over here. And then from there, we put it up into this hopper, and then across this gravity. And this gravity table has some air blowing up from underneath the deck, and is slanted and shaped. And this is how we separate by density or weight. While this machine we separate by size. So we'll take a quick look. So the seed that we're cleaning is in this white bag right here. It's going in to the hopper and up the elevator into the surge tank, and then down into this air screen machine. Again, this is just a bigger version of the little one we just looked at. And it's separating by size, and there's a little bit of air blowing through it, so it'll blow some of the lighter stuff off. But the clean seed comes out and then over the gravity tables and is separated by density. So we'll go up and take a closer look at it. So the main reason for cleaning seed obviously is to remove all the sticks and trash and other debris that comes in with it from the field. But also we're able to separate any weed seeds, any noxious weed seeds. And then we can separate by the density. Usually the heavier seed has a better germination. And has a better germination. So when the farmer goes to plant it in the field, it grows for them. So we'll take a look. Here's some of the good seed that's coming off into here. And then it's going up to the gravity table. So it would go up into this first gravity table, but he's not running anything on this one, so we'll go look at the next one. Just our luck, he doesn't have anything on this one either. So we'll walk down to the other machine to look at a different seed and a different process, so we can see something actually working on the gravity table. So like I said, we clean a variety of different seeds, and each seeds have their own processes, and we have different equipment for that, but mainly most of it starts with the air screen machine and the gravity, and each seed has different combinations of screens that are used.
So I have a quick question for you, Kurt.
Yep.
Seems like there's a lot of moving parts to all of your equipment, and it seems very customized. Do you work with ag engineers to develop this equipment and processes?
Yeah, the cleaning equipment hasn't changed in a lot of years. We've got some new equipment. This is an older piece of equipment, but newer technology, which is called a color sorter, that has different lenses and lights in it that can detect different types of seed. It's used quite a bit in vegetable seeds and higher value crops. But you can set it up to see black and white. You would use it in onion seed to separate the black onion seed from the white florets. So it just gives you that little bit finer tuning. But to answer your question, as far as ag engineers, yeah, they've been used a lot to develop this equipment. A lot of things have been done by trial and error. When we set up our equipment, it's kind of based off of knowledge and how things work. We didn't hire an ag engineer. My father has an ag engineering degree, so when he designed the last system we put in, so yeah, it does help to have that background in the engineering, just to understand how things work and what can hold what and how much weight can be spread out. So here we have a smaller cleaning line. the second in size. And here we're cleaning coriander, which is also known as cilantro. And so coriander's got a different shape than the Sudan that we were just looking at. So here's a coriander seed that has been harvested in the field. And see, this is what we're trying to separate: the sticks and any extra trash. The good seed are those little balls, those little circle, and you can see right there, some of the balls, they split, and so you have halves. So you're trying to separate all of the good seed. That's our job, is to separate as much good seed as we can for the growers, so they can get the best return on their crop. So here's again, this is where we would dump that seed. Goes up into the hopper, and then down into the air screen machine. And then the clean seed goes back up over to that hopper and onto the gravity table. So we'll walk up there and take a look. So then this tour is a lot more fun in person, because you can hear all of the noises and smell the different smells of seeds. The coriander has a very nice fresh aroma, just like if you were smelling cilantro. So it's nice to clean coriander because it smells good in here. But here's the top of the screen. And as you can see, this top screen takes off the big sticks, and it's also taking off any dirt that came in. And then the better seed falls down. Ooh, can we see? I don't think you can see. But under there, the better seed's falling down and getting separated again, where the smaller seed is falling all the way down here and going out the back of the machine. So and here we can see the gravity table working. As the seed comes out, it starts to shake with the air blowing up underneath it. That allows it to separate, with the lighter seed coming down this way to the bottom of the table and the better seed moving up to the top. So here's the good seed off of the gravity table. So, but on coriander, our processing isn't done here. Coriander, if you take a look at that one at the bottom, they've got the little tails on it. Growers do not like to have the tails on it, because when they take it to the field to plant, the tails plug up the planter and cause them all sorts of trouble. So we'll walk back over here and take a look at the last of the process to get that clean. So this is all of the electrical boxes that are in use to run all of the machinery, all the fuses and starters and magnetic switches. So yeah, all of this takes a certified electrician to make sure they got the right wires going to the right places. And we come over here to look at the control boxes. We try to make it easy and have just a few buttons for the operators to work on, so they know what buttons they need to push to start which piece of machinery to complete the process that they're working on. So here's the second of the big machines. very similar to the first big machine we looked at. And so I didn't explain, but these are called bulk bags. This is mainly what we handle all of our seed in. Some companies use steel bins, but those can be cost prohibitive if it takes a lot of money to buy enough steel bins. So we use these bags. They hold about 2,500 pounds. And so when the seed crop comes in, gets weighed, it gets unloaded into these bags, whereas the grain would go into either the building or a tank. So the second part of the coriander cleaning is here. These are what we call spirals, and it's just using centrifugal force to separate the good round seed from anything that has tails or anything that's not round. So you start at the top, and the seed goes down, and as it goes down, gravity pulls the rounder stuff. It spins faster and goes to the outside. The stuff with tails, any misshapen stuff will roll slower and falls to the middle. So we'll take a look at what we get out of the clean seed side. So you can see here and get it focused. There's not any tails on it. Everything is uniform and clean. And so this is the end product that the growers are looking for. So we'll take this product and ship it off to a laboratory for a final analysis on the purity and the germ. And the purity, they're looking for any weed seeds, inert material, and good seed. So we're looking mainly for a 99.5% pure seed, 0 weeds if possible, and a germination of 85% or better. So we'll compare this with the bad seed that's coming out. As you can see there, you see some tails, you see some halves, and so you can see how good of a separation it's doing. And this is doing anything without any power, no electricity, nothing but gravity. So we've got 2 sets of those working. Like I said, some of this equipment's been around forever. This piece of equipment was built in the 1930s. It's called a magnetic mill, and we use this on alfalfa seed to separate daughter, which is a weed seed, a noxious weed seed that cannot cross state lines. So this is one way that we can use to separate that out. And the way this works is the alfalfa seed coat is nice and smooth. The daughter seed has a rough seed coat. And so we add a little bit of water right here at this hose, and some iron filings. And then we mix it together with the alfalfa seed. And the alfalfa seed mixes up and then goes up to the top of this machine. And these 2 drums are magnetized. So the daughter seed, the iron filings adhere to the daughter seed and will stick to the magnet. The magnet will take the seed down and around the daughter seed and out the side. The good alfalfa seed doesn't have the iron filings, so it doesn't stick, so it gets thrown off the front. So
that is amazing, Kurt. I actually have a couple questions pertaining to your machinery. Someone in the chat is asking, does your company ever change your machines when better and more efficient ones are made? And you just mentioned that, you know, that machine right there is from the 1930s and still works great. So I'm guessing you don't have a lot of change to your machines, or do you have some machines that you do change for more efficient processes?
no, I like most of the machines that are still being built today. This green machine that we looked at, we installed that machine in 2011. So it's pretty much, you know, it's the same principles. It's got a little bit of a different air handling system. So I mean, we didn't, this area of the mill wasn't in use, so we didn't replace anything, but we had space for new equipment. So yeah, things don't change enough to warrant replacing equipment very often, just because it's cost prohibitive. I mean, the green machine, that was, about $160,000, to install. So it's a little cost prohibitive. I'm just going to take you guys into here and see what kind of samples we can look at and see the different shapes and sizes.
And while you're doing that, Kurt, what is the total length of this cleaning process from start to finish?
The total length of this, depending on it, on the big machines, we can clean, about 5,000 pounds an hour. On alfalfa seed, on wheat seed, we can clean about 10,000 pounds. Coriander is a lot slower. It's got a lot more steps in it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that one, if we have a 100,000 pound lot, it could take us, 30 days before we get to that actual final good seed coming out of the spiral.
Mm-hmm.
To get everything through the process. So, I mean, we can start having good seed, maybe within a week, but to get all 100,000 pounds processed correctly, would take the full month.
Interesting. Thank you.
So let's see what else.
Goals. Adjacent, opposite X. Adjacent 19.
Okay, so I'll just show.
Oh, Kurt, it looks like you were muted.
Somebody else.
There we go.
The host tried to quiet me down. Sorry.
Oh, it wasn't me, I promise.
So, but we'll take just kind of a look at these different types of seed. I don't know how great we'll be able to see them, but this is Bermuda grass. So this would be Bermuda grass seed that's been harvested, and this is what we called unhold, and then this is Bermuda grass, which we called hold. So most Bermuda grass is a warm season crop that's grown mainly in the Imperial Valley and Yuma. There's a couple other regions in the United States that can produce it, but we are the main producing region for the world, and this seed gets shipped all over the world, into Mexico, all over the southern part of the United States, Australia, Europe, China, Japan, Taiwan, the Philippines. So any place that they've got temperatures similar to ours will plant Bermuda grass. But when it's harvested, it comes in this state with the hull on. We call it unhold, but it's kind of contradictory because unhold still has the hull on and hold has it off. But anyways, if you think of it like a peanut, the peanut inside the shell, this is a peanut inside the shell, and then this is just the peanut without the shell. And so it just depends on the market, what the customer's preference is, of how we clean it. But so, I mean, this would just go through the standard gravity and air screen machine. This goes through another process called the hullers, to get the shell off of it. But without the shell off of it, you get a little bit quicker germination. You could see, plants starting to grow within 3 to 5 days. And with this one, you're looking at more 7 to 10 days. So it just depends on the end use of it. If this one, we think about how many seeds come in a pound, the hold seed, there's about 2 million seeds per pound in this one. The unhold, we're looking at about 1.4 million seeds per pound. And then if we come over here to the alfalfa seed, you can kind of see a little bit, you know, it's bigger than the Bermuda grass, but, you know, smaller than the coriander, you know, it's got a different shape. So, you know, seed comes in all shapes and sizes, and we have to have the correct screens in place to separate them, to separate them efficiently. But if we're looking at the alfalfa as far as seeds per pound, there's about 200,000 seeds per pound of the alfalfa seed. This next one is wheat. So you can see the shape of a kernel. There's, you know, in the wheat, you know, we're looking about 14,000 seeds per pound. This is the Sudan. This was what we were seeing on the first machine. This is about 34,000 seeds per pound. And then this is canola. This is a product that we grow, and we use, you know, you can see this is kind of looks like a little BB, a little bit smaller than a BB, but it's round. We use the spirals on this product also to separate the broken seed and any off quality seed to come out with a good product. So those are kind of some of the different shapes and sizes that we've got just off of hand.
So I have another question for you. Does your company also grow these commodities, or are you simply a facility where farmers could bring their seed to?
We are a custom cleaner. We do have a small part of our business that is dedicated to production of breeder seed. So a definition of breeder seed would be, there's a Bermuda grass breeder in Georgia that's working on a new variety. They're able to produce, you know, a handful of seed, you know, say a few ounces of seed. They'll send us the few ounces of seed, and we'll plant that over, you know, a 1/16 of an acre, and then we'll produce that 1/16 of an acre and harvest it. And so from the few ounces of seed we get, hopefully we can get, you know, a few pounds, you know, and then from a few pounds, we'll take the few pounds and plant some more, so we can get it to a commercial variety. So we do our own growing on the smaller block acreage, and we also do, you know, research projects, looking at different fertilizer rates, different grow outs where companies want to see what their plants look like. So we'll plant them and grow them, and then they'll come down and take a look at them to see if there's anything that is off type or not true to the variety. So I mean, we do some of our own growing. It's on a smaller scale. We do contract production, like from the example on the Bermuda grass. If we start from a few ounces, once we get it up to a couple hundred pounds of seed, and the company is happy with the variety, the way it looks, the way it produces seed. If it's not a very good seed producer, then a lot of companies don't want to mess with it because it just costs too much money to produce. But if they get a variety they like, and we get enough stock seed to plant 70 acres or 140 acres, we'll go out into the community and we work with growers on contract production. Well, we provide them the seed, they do all of the farming and the maintenance, and grow it, and then we'll oversee the production. And if the farmer has any questions or has any concerns, we can discuss it. But for the most part, they do all of the legwork and then have it harvested and then delivered to our facility, where then we take it and clean it to the specs of our customer and ship it to wherever the customer needs it. So we're standing in one of the flat house buildings. Right now it's used for dual storage. But so we've got grain where it comes into the pit and it just gets dumped onto the floor. When we're ready to load out, we pick it up with the skip loader, big bucket, put it into trucks and move it over to the pit that we saw earlier where the truck was. And then this is, once we get the wheat moved out of here, we start using it for our bulk bag storage. We try not to store anything outside under the weather, under the tarps, just for the small chance that we do get an inch of rain like we got 2 weeks ago. You know, one thing that's not good for seed storage is water. Seed storage needs to be dry and nice to be temperature controlled, but we have some temperature control under the buildings just from the shade that it provides from our hot summers. So most of the seeds that are produced down here are pretty hardy and can be stored for 2 to 3 years before we see any substantial drop in germination. There's another flat house. This is all just bulk storage, bulk bag storage. So let's give you an idea of everything that we've got going on. And all of these bags have tickets on them, tags on them that say the lot number, when they were put in the bag, and where they're being stored. And then this ticket has a second side to it that we have stored in the mill office, where we can go back to and find out where we put it, so we can control our inventory from that standpoint.
That's great. We do have a lot of questions coming in. Did you have anything else you wanted to show us, or we could just go right into our question and answer time?
Give me what I'm going to walk over here to this building right here. This is where the clean seed storage building is, and it's is where we do all of our final packaging. So we'll just take a quick look in here, and then we can open it up to questions.
Great, thank you.
Before, like I said, we can, this is built as a grain handling facility, and so we can take seed from that side of the yard and bring it all the way over here on this conveyor belt, and it goes into the building, and then we can either treat it with a fungicide or just put it into a bag without having to handle it a second time. So here's one side of the bagging, and then here's another bagging machine. This machine right here we call the blender. We can put different quality of seed, be it low purity, low germ, high germ, in each of these bins. And then it's got a vibratory feeder at the bottom here that is calibrated to set to that dial, so you can put as many pounds per minute in, and we can blend different types of seed off. But it would go up into this hopper, down, and then here we've got an electronic bagging scale that we can set to 50 pounds is what we normally pack stuff in, 25 kg bags if it's going export. Sometimes we do 25-pound bags, but it fills the bag to 50 pounds. The bag releases onto the belt, and then it comes through here. It comes through the sewing machine. It's fed through the sewing machine, and then on this end is picked up and then stacked onto a pallet. Oh, there's some pallets stacked, but this is the two-stitch sewing machine, so it's got 2 lines of thread on top of the bag. So, but now this warehouse is just mainly for clean seed storage. So yeah, we can open it up to questions.
Great,
if you guys are ready.
Yeah, we're ready. I have lots of questions that I'm going to go through in the chat. But while I'm going through those questions, if you would like to unmute and ask a question, feel free to use the raise hand option under the reactions button down at the bottom, and raise your hand, and I can pause so you can ask your question. But to get us started, we have a question about the seed that you were separating that was not good. What do you do with that seed?
The seed screenings that we collect, there's depends on what type of seed it is. The alfalfa seed screenings has some value to it because it's got some protein nutrients in it. So there's heifer ranches or dairies or feedlots that would be interested in taking that and using it in their rations. Some of the other stuff, and I mean, like sticks and things, go into a screenings truck, and we've got a company that comes in and hauls that off. And they take it. They usually have a home for it that they can grind it up or do something with it to make it disappear.
Great. So it's not just thrown away. There's use beyond your facility.
Right. Yeah. A lot of that stuff goes into like alfalfa cubes or kind of feed cubes, where it can get ground up and reused.
Another question: do you deal with any pests, and if so, what type, and how do you prevent it?
Yeah, we've got some mice problems, but for the most part, our preventative measures are shop cats. We've got a good crew of cats that roam the premises and keep most of the mice at bay. So from that standpoint, that's the biggest pest that we deal with. On the wheat side of things, grain handling side of things, we have weevil issues. If we have to store wheat for longer than a year, we tend to see some weevils come out. And so then from there we need to fumigate it with a pesticide.
Dealing with the seeds, what type of seed does your facility work with most?
Our biggest is alfalfa seed. From what we process here, from the seed side, depending on the price of wheat. This year wheat acres are going to be about 15,000 acres in the Imperial Valley. Last year we were 10. The year before that we were 8. But if you go back to 2008, we were 110,000. So if we've got a good wheat price and a lot of wheat acres, then the bulk of what we handle as far as pounds would be wheat. But from a value standpoint, alfalfa is what we move the most of and sell the most of. And our alfalfa sales are mainly into Mexico. We have some into Africa and some into the Middle East, but our main customers are in Mexico.
That's great. I have Alejandra wants to ask a question, so go ahead and unmute.
Yes. So what what seeds can you use to do different things? So to grow different things.
Yeah, I mean, all the seeds that we do have different purposes. So if you really want to take it to the basics, alfalfa seed, you can say alfalfa, or the alfalfa seed, you can say, ice cream comes from an alfalfa seed, or milk comes from an alfalfa seed, because you plant alfalfa seed to grow alfalfa hay, which feeds the cattle, which feeds the cows that produce the milk. And the milk, can turn into ice cream from there. So, each crop has its own specialty. The wheat, turns into pasta. The Sudan turns into a forage for roughage, which also, helps in the milk production. Bermuda grass is if you look out, at a golf course, a finely manicured golf course, that Bermuda grass seed came from probably Imperial Valley or Yuma. So yeah, each seed has its purpose.
That's great. We actually have a program at FarmSmart called Alfalfa is Ice Cream in the Making. So I'm glad you mentioned that. Another question we have is dealing with COVID. How has COVID impacted your company and your business and how you work with the seed?
I mean, being essential, not a whole lot has changed here other than just from house cleaning standpoint and mask wearing and, you know, try to social distance when possible. So, I mean, we've been coming to work every day since, you know, since St. Patrick's Day last year, continuing to do what we do. We've been lucky. We haven't had an outbreak here. All of my full-time employees have stayed healthy. We've had a few part-time guys that have become sick and had to stay home. But so from the mill standpoint, we've been lucky, and we kind of can just continue to plug along. As far as the last spring, we saw, you know, seed sales and Bermuda grass and alfalfa seed take a little bit of a dip. So, you know, we're starting to make up a little bit of that make up for a little bit of those sales here the end of last year and the first part of this year, but we're still trying to climb out of there.
I'm glad that, you know, most of your employees are doing well and staying healthy and able to continue working. Dealing with the markets that you have overseas and in different regions, how do you market to these different regions? Do you have a person that's in charge of your sales and marketing?
Yeah, I mean, it's more word of mouth and what we've been doing. We don't have a big program. We don't have any of our own varieties that we're out pushing. We're selling, you know, mostly commodity based, so it's a relationship business. That, you know, you just kind of stay in contact. Sometimes you get referred by somebody else, but once you start building on those relationships, as long as you're able to continue to provide a good service at a good price, you know, you can kind of keep those relationships going. But I mean, we're a smaller entity, so I handle, you know, all of the sales and marketing for Rubin Seeds.
That's great. I do have a question. Someone's curious of how many employees you have at your facility.
I've got 15 full-time employees, 5 of us that are in the office, and then 10 guys outside. We've got 3 full-time guys on the cleaning machines, and then 1 maintenance guy, and then the other guys are kind of jack of all trades, kind of working with the bagging and shipping of the seed.
Great. Someone is curious, what is the furthest destination that your seeds have traveled to?
Furthest, I mean, Australia. We've got seed going into Australia and China. So it's probably the furthest would be Australia. And I mean, the seeds in the longest it takes for seed to get someplace would probably be into the Middle East, because it leaves out of Los Angeles. You know, we put it in a container, loaded in a container in Brawley, containers shipped to Los Angeles to the port, containers loaded onto the vessel, and then the vessel's got to sail down, you know, down to the Panama across. So that's, you know, about a 45 to 60 day journey on the water for alfalfa seed going into the Middle East. You know, whereas, you know, a container going into Australia's, you know, more, you know, 28 to 30 days on the water.
Wow. Now, do you have to deal with any like food safety issues when you're working with these seeds?
We're a registered food facility handler because we do handle wheat seed, which is going, you know, which would be going straight into the consumer market. But other than the wheat, everything we handle is either going to go into the ground as grass and then be consumed by an animal before it gets into the food chain. So there's not a ton of safety regulation or food safety regulations that we're required to adhere to.
That's great. Well, we're coming to the end of our session. I have one more question before we end, but I just want to open it up if there's anyone else that would like to unmute and ask a question before I ask the final question. Okay. All right, looks like there's only the questions that we had in the chat that we already answered. But my final question is, these are on our call today. We have high school students that are interested in agriculture, potentially having a career in agriculture, pursuing, those efforts. What opportunities are there in your industry, and or what tips do you have to students that are interested in a career in agriculture?
I mean, there's opportunities all over the place depending on what your interest is. If you want to get into the breeding and you like science and you like that aspect of it, there's that, and sales, processing. So I mean, you just kind of got to find out what you like, and you don't want to get into a career that you don't like. You want your job to be something you enjoy, so it doesn't feel like a job. So that's kind of feel blessed to be able to be here, and I have an office, but I don't like to be in it very often, so try to spend as little time in there as possible. But yeah, I mean, just focus on what you like, and everybody in the ag community is always open and always willing to discuss anything with you. And so if you've got friends or family, or you've got questions, feel free to reach out to somebody you think you might want to talk to, if it's a professor of agronomy, or a breeder, or your local seedsman, or even just you run into a farmer someplace and you've got questions. People want to share their experience in ag, because everybody's got a great experience being part of the agriculture community. So I mean, there's just so many jobs available that even wouldn't even think pertain to ag, that do pertain to ag. Even from the machine side, equipment side, bag sales, everything that goes into growing a crop or marketing a crop, is a wide expanse. So yeah, I mean, visit with your ag teachers. They've got a lot of connections. Visit with the great people at Farm Smart, the people at Meadowland Station, the University of California, all of their researchers. Everybody's got an open door policy. So I'd say just reach out and ask questions to kind of help you find out what you want to do. And even if you start in something that you think you want to do and it ends up not being what you wanted, look for the next one. But yeah, I would encourage everybody to pursue their passions. So.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rubin, for allowing us to tour your facilities and having the opportunity to learn about the work that you do in our local community.
No, well, thank you for having me. Like I said, I wish you guys could be out here in person, and hopefully as we get back to some sort of normalcy, we could do it again in person, because it's a lot more amazing to see in person than it is to see through a screen. So.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much. And also thank you so much to UC Farm Smart for the opportunity to collaborate for today's event. We also want to thank everybody who participated and joined us each session for our virtual youth Ag Summit. As we thank everyone for participating, and we hope to stay in touch. Thank you.
Everybody, have a great day. It was great to